Let me open up with my disclaimer.
Disclaimer: the views, comments, and opinions expressed during the Tuesday night study cipher are solely those of the host and its participants. They do not necessarily reflect the views, comments, or opinions of the Nation of Islam, unless explicitly stated when referencing official teachings for educational or contextual purposes.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that he came in the person of Master Father Muhammad, and I bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is the exalted Christ, and I bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the Messiah in our midst. I greet my brothers and sisters in the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. So tonight's topic is, can the devil fool a Muslim? We hear this statement in English lesson C number 1, and it asks a question, can the devil fool a Muslim? Not nowadays. You mean to tell me he fooled him 379 years ago? Well, let's look into, can the devil fool a Muslim? To fool in this context means to deceive, trick. So can the devil deceive a Muslim? Can the devil trick a Muslim? You mean to tell me he did it? They did it 379 years ago? So there were Muslims back then that was fooled by the devil. So how was they fooled by the devil? And what is it today where it can say not nowadays when it say, can the devil fool a Muslim? Well, a Muslim is one who submit his or her will to do the will of God, of Allah. It also means one who's complete, one who's whole, one of peace. So the devil had to trick or fool using what is called tricknology towards the Muslims when they fooled them. So the devil made an interpretation. And so when we look at this, can the devil fool a Muslim? To look at it from a historic standpoint is good, but when you look at it from a spiritual standpoint, can the devil fool a Muslim? Let's look at the devil. We know is anything grafted from the original, but the devil is also an adversary, right? So can your adversary fool you if you consider yourself a Muslim? If you consider yourself a Muslim, then you're saying that you submit your will to do the will of Allah. You're saying you're one who's whole. You're saying you're one who's complete. You're saying you one at peace. But can the devil deceive you or trick you to where you, as a Muslim, is not operating under that functioning working definition? Can the devil fool a Muslim? Sometimes our, our thoughts are devil. Sometimes our thinking process is devil. And sometimes we can deceive ourselves. Sometimes we can fool ourselves. Sometimes we can trick ourselves based on our thought process. Can your negative thoughts outweigh your positive thoughts? Uh, Could you deceive yourself based on your perspective? Can you, as a Muslim, get knocked off your path for your deen? Could you be your worst enemy? These are questions we have to ask ourselves because those things are considered devil. Your thoughts can be grafted from the original. Your original thought is to be righteous. Your original thought is to be one that's complete, one that's whole, one that's at peace. You can wake up with that on your mind, but you can allow a deceptive thought process. Somebody could say something, and your thoughts can take you off the path of being a Muslim, one at peace, one who's complete, one who's whole, one who's submitting to the will of Allah. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that we're all Allah, but there's a supreme one. So you can submit to your higher self or your higher way of thinking, your positive way of thinking, which is the will of the self Allah. We have our own will and desires wherein we operate, but we can allow others to deceive us, to trick us, to knock us off our path. Can the devil fool a Muslim? Well, you can't be a Muslim if the devil is constantly fooling you. When you're constantly in your head accepting negative emotions, when you allow your emotions to be uncontrollable, when you're thinking uh, from a negative standpoint and allow that to take place in your life, then that devil has fooled you from within you. We say, or we study and say, I have a knowledge of self. If you have a knowledge of self, then you must understand your weaknesses and your strength. Can a devil fool a Muslim? Sure. Why? Because the devil of self, when we dealing with the self, the devil of self can cause us to deceive our own self, can can cause us to trick our own self. Why? Because we are in our heads with crazy thoughts. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome online. You know if they can.
Like Masalam.
Um, we was breaking down, can the devil fool a Muslim? And the fool means to deceive or trick.
Mm-hmm.
And we as Muslim, a Muslim is one who submits his or her will to do the will of God. Is also one of peace, one who's complete, one is whole. And we can look at the devil outside of us as a devil that trying to fool us. But how many times have we fooled ourselves? How many times have we had foolish thoughts? How many times we allow our negative thoughts to override our positive thoughts? How many times have we allowed our uncontrollable emotions guide us instead of using sound thought or sound logic? Have you ever experienced that?
Absolutely, brother.
Yes, sir. You want to elaborate on that?
Man, it used to be all the time, brother Mike. I let myself talk. Me, everything was a good idea back in the day, And once I got tired of the results that I was getting, then I had to start listening to that other little voice that was telling me, "Hey, man, you know, don't override your first thought." My first thought was, "No, that's not a good idea." My second was like, "Hey, that's a great idea." And I started listening to both of them from time to time, depending on what I thought I wanted or the outcome that I thought I wanted. Now,
Right.
with a more positive mind and a more knowledge on where I'm going in the direction I'm going in, I know that that first thought is probably the one I need to roll with.
Okay. Anyone else? Because when we're dealing with the self, There's this reality called self-deception. Fooling yourself is more common than people realize. It's not just lying to yourself on purpose, it's a subtle process where the mind protects, justifies, and reshape reality so it feels easier to live with. How self-deception works. At its core, self-deception happens when you accept a version of reality that protects your feelings instead of confronting the truth. Mm. See, we put up a protective shield and deceive ourselves by not accepting responsibility or accountability. See, the inner process, truth appears, you see or sense something real. I'm not putting in the work. This relationship isn't right. I made a mistake. Ego steps in. The mind wants to protect your identity, pride, or comfort, so it resists the truth. It's not that bad. They're the problem, not me. See, when you're going through something and in your mind, you can blame everyone and not accept that you are part of the problem. So you point the finger to protect yourself. You minimize and use excuses because it's more comfortable. It's a more comfortable narrative to use excuses, blame shifting, and minimizing the issue. Repetition builds belief. The more you repeat the story, the more it feels true, even when evidence say otherwise. Right? So if can the devil fool a Muslim? Yes, because we want to protect ourselves. We want to protect our feelings. We want to pride. We got pride. So we don't look at things from a proper view. We look at it from a standpoint of how can I protect myself? How can I keep from being hurt? How can I be this way? How can I not allow people to do this towards me? So we get in our mind, as it said, as a protective reality, and we start deceiving ourselves. Common ways people fool themselves. Rationalization. I had to do it because then they justify their wrong action. Have you ever did it? I know I've done it before. Or do you have you ever been in a situation where people rationalize or you rationalize uh, your common ways? Okay. Denial. That's not really happening. Ignoring obvious truth. See, you can ignore the truth. See, when we think somebody is ignorant, when we say somebody is ignorant, we thinking, well, the person don't know something. Well, if you look at the word ignorant, the root of it is ignore. When you ignore a thing, when you ignore the truth, when you ignore correction, when you ignore, you are being ignorant. So you can deceive yourself by ignoring facts, ignoring the truth, ignoring reality, projection. There's the problem. Seeing your own traits in others. See, they say a good doctor knows another good doctor. A good lawyer knows another good lawyer. Then they say a liar knows another liar, right?
Mhm.
A thief think everybody else steal, right?
Mhm.
Uh, so a liar think everybody lie, a thief think everybody steal, and a scared person think everybody else fear. Selective attention, only noticing what supports your belief. You don't accept the reality. You don't accept anything unless it fit your perception or your way of thinking. You want everybody to agree with you. If they say something that it doesn't fit your belief, you don't accept it. So you're fooling yourself. Why the mind does this? Self-deception isn't random. It serves a purpose. It protects ego, how you see yourself. Avoid painful emotions, guilt, fear, and shame. It maintains comfort and control. See, when there's self-deception, when you're fooling yourself, it serves a it serves a purpose for yourself. And that is to protect your ego, how you see yourself. Avoid painful emotions, guilt, fear, shame, even to protect when we protect our emotions, that energy and emotion, we usually respond negatively. Did I say that right? I don't want y'all to get. I'm saying that man couldn't even pronounce that word. And maintain comfort and control. I've been there. How many of you have been there? How many of you fool yourself using self-deception? It's all right to be honest now. The more a person fools himself, the more convincing they become to others. Mm. The more a person fools themselves, the more convincing they become to others. Why? They're not acting, they're actually believing the illusion. Can the devil fool a Muslim? Yes, they can believe their own illusion. That belief removes hesitation, making the deception seem real. Your thought process can actually be so off course, so wrong, that you're fooling yourself to really think you are right. Then you will try to convince others that you're right and everybody else is wrong. The root of the word fool and the etymology of the word fool is full of air. The term refers to you ever say, oh man, he's just full of air. Self-deception is when a person becomes filled with their own illusion instead of truth. Can the devil fool a Muslim? We have to all look within ourselves and deal with ourselves. How to break it? Question yourself honestly. Am I avoiding something uncomfortable? Some people don't even want to hold that uncomfortable uh, discussion or conversation because of their delusion. Look at patterns, not excuses. Patterns don't lie. Invite correction. Trusted people can see what you can't. See, a lot of times when someone try to correct us, if we're living in an illusion, we don't accept correction. But we don't trust that they see something we can't. Separate feelings from facts. Feeling right does not equal being right. Feeling right doesn't mean being right. A man who fools himself doesn't need enemies because he's already disconnected from truth. Self-deception isn't just a philosophical idea, it's a well-studied part of psychology. What you describe fits into several core concepts. Cognitive dissonance. mental conflict. In psychology, one of the main explanations is cognitive dissonance. This is the discomfort you feel when your actions and belief don't match. Example, belief, I'm a disciplined man. Reality, you're a procrastinator. That creates tension. So the mind resolves it by changing the story instead of the behavior. Now, I know there was times I definitely suffer from cognitive dissonance. Can anybody else bear witness to that?
But I'm suffering from it right now. Help me.
Yes, sir. All praise to the law. So how you think you can change that?
Hmm.
Uh, make a plan, I guess.
Yes,
I don't
sir.
know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make a plan of action. Anybody else?
I guess um do positive things, let your good outweigh the bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um
And be honest with
and your
yourself, right?
thoughts. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, when you're fooling yourself, 9 times out of 10, in psychology, it calls it a defense mechanism, ego protection. Psychology says the mind uses defense mechanism to protect itself from stress or pain. This study comes from Sigmund Freud. Common ones tied to self-deception, denial, refusing to accept reality, rationalization, making excuses sound logical, projection, blaming others for your own traits. These aren't usually conscious lies, they are automatic mental shields. They're self-serving bias. This is the tendency to take credit for success and blame outside factors for failure. We all know somebody that do that, right? Or we might have done it ourselves.
Yeah.
Example, success. I earned it. Failure. They were all against me. This keeps your self-image intact, but distorts truth. You have a thing called confirmation bias. This is when you only accept information that support what you already believe. We all either been there or we know somebody. We ignore criticism, only listen to people who agree with us. Because in our minds, we think we're submitting to the will of Allah. Well, but we're not if we can't rise above emotion into the thinking of God. We're not if we can't self-discipline. We're not if we can't accept and be honest with ourselves. You build a false reality bubble and don't even realize it. The narrative self. Modern psychology shows we all live by an internal story, your identity narrative. I'm strong, I'm right, I'm a good person. When reality threatens that story, the mind edits reality instead of rewriting the identity. There's self deception at a deeper level. That means, now just think, however you see yourself, I'm strong, I'm right, I'm a good person. And then when you're faced with reality or it threatens that story, you ain't as strong as you portray. You ain't as good as you say you are. You ain't as right as you think you are. The mind edits reality instead of rewriting the identity. Meaning, instead of you making changes and making corrections to who you are, you rather edit reality. Man, I don't know. They don't know what they talking about. They don't know me. Why psychology says this happened? Your brain prioritized emotional stability over truth, consistency over accuracy. Because facing truth can feel like loss of identity, shame or guilt, or uncertainty. Self deception is not weakness, it's a built in survival mechanism. But if left unchecked, it becomes a barrier to growth, discipline, and truth. Anyone have any questions?
No, sir, that was good.
So we got to understand belief shaped by perception is not reality. The strongest mind isn't the one that never makes mistakes, it's the one that can see itself clearly without distortion. So if there's no questions, no statements, or no comments, y'all know I don't stay long, but I stay strong.
Hmm.
Anything, Brother Dion?
Yes, sir, brother. I just wanted to thank you, man, for doing these study ciphers, man. I can't believe how much I learned just listening to these, and how much it turns on my thinking and research just from listening to these 30-minute or so calls. So I appreciate it, man. I just wanted to say that.
Yes, sir. All praise due to Allah, Master Muhammad. And I appreciate you coming on. It ain't about how many people on, it's about what we do when we on here, you know. And so keep coming on and keep participating.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate you. I appreciate you, Sister Angela, for coming on and supporting it. And definitely keep doing it. So
You're welcome.
if there's no questions or statement or comment, I can go ahead and close out in prayer.
Okay.
Prayer. In the name of Allah, the beneficent and merciful, Master of the day of judgment which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, thee alone we beseech for aid. Guide us on the right path, the path of those whom thou hast bestowed favor, and out on the path of those who go astray. Brothers greet the brothers, sisters greet the brothers, and brothers greet the sisters. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum
Walaikum
salam, sir.
salam.
Yeah, me and this.